let's start with that in regards to the USC landscape and what we saw in the Pac-12 this past weekend and how it pertains to USC's stretch drive.
Well, there's an interesting little drama here on Twitter and in terms of the discussions of a three-way tiebreaker, especially one that involves specifically USC, Utah, and Oregon. Now, that would happen if USC beats UCLA and Utah beats Oregon. That would create a three-way tie, assuming those teams win the other games. All right. Now, the Pac-12 tiebreaker language does say if all the teams play each other, head-to-head is first. So technically, because USC and Oregon don't play each other, you could interpret that as saying all the teams do not play each other, which means head-to-head gets invalidated. But if Utah beats Oregon, it will have head-to-heads over USC and Oregon. Now, I'm interpreting that as meaning that if there's a three-way tie and one team has head-to-heads over the other two, that meets the criteria of, all the teams played each other relative to Utah and the three-team tie. Like the Pac-12 could not allow Utah to be eliminated in a three-way tie when it has head-to-heads over both USC and Oregon. But the language is not 100% airtight on that. So that's a little controversy there. Some USC fans have told me USC controls its own destiny because head-to-heads don't apply. But I'm of the view that, wait, you can't keep Utah out when it has head-to-head wins over Oregon and USC if we get to that scenario. But maybe the Pac-12 really is going to, put egg on its face. So there is ambiguity. Like there is ambiguity in the language. I don't think the Pac-12's writing of the tiebreaker procedures closed that loophole fully. So that's why it's fair to interpret this as, head-to-heads don't imply because all three aren't playing. But my interpretation is, if Utah wasn't playing Oregon and it was and so Utah, no team had head-to-head wins over the other two, that's when the next tiebreaker applies. But I'm thinking that if one team has head-to-heads over the other two in a three-way, it doesn't matter that USC and Oregon didn't play. I don't think that's going to invalidate Utah's head-to-heads. But I will grant the USC fans that are saying USC controls its own destiny, I will grant there is some ambiguity there. But like that would just be the ultimate egg on your face moment for the Pac-12 if it really did allow that loophole to exist. I just can't think that's really how they intended that rule to be. So it would be nice to have a formal announcement from the conference office saying, actually, yeah, because Utah has both head-to-heads, it would get the tiebreaker. All that having been said, for USC, win your games. And I'm certainly feeling a lot better about USC's chances against UCLA after watching UCLA's defense get shredded like that. UCLA's defense is slow. UCLA's defense does not have the personnel to match up against a healthy USC offense. And one of the things we've been saying the past few weeks here at the Voice of College Football is that USC has this soft on-ramp to that UCLA game on November 19th. Arizona, Cal, Colorado, and Arizona, the opponent this weekend, it's clearly the biggest test of the three, partly because Cal and Colorado are not nearly as good on offense right now. And I know Cal beat Arizona by 18, but like that just seems like an anomaly because Cal could not light up Washington. If you can't light up Washington's porous secondary, you don't have a very good offense. All right. So Cal's in the dumpster right now, as is Colorado. So like those two games are layups for USC, like zero question about those. Arizona, yeah, there is a little bit of a question mark surrounding this game. I mean, USC heavily favored, but I can at least imagine a scenario in which Arizona makes this game interesting. And that scenario is pretty simple. Jaden DeLora plays great. He plays his best game of the season. Arizona is able to hit downfield strikes against a USC secondary that didn't perform very well against Utah, could not figure out Dalton Kincaid, could not stop Cam Rising in the downfield passing game. If Jaden DeLora goes nuts, maybe Arizona wins a 49-48 kind of game, but like USC is going to score a ton of points, and I think USC probably could score into the 60s if it needs to in this game. Obviously, USC a huge favorite, but there are some games where you cannot envision any scenario whatsoever in which the underdog wins. So USC Cal, USC Colorado, I count those two games as like there's no scenario in which USC loses. Arizona, yeah, there is like one scenario, maybe two, in which USC loses. It still means like USC has like a 98% chance of winning, but like Arizona has that 2% chance. So like USC coming off the idle week needs to treat this game very seriously because, and we've said this all year long here on the Voice of College Football, USC gets through this Arizona game. What happens in November? USC doesn't leave Los Angeles. All 4 November games are in Los Angeles. The UCLA game is a road game, but it's in Pasadena. So like USC gets to sleep in its own bed, don't have to board a single plane flight, really a good chance to heal and get right. And with that soft on-ramp with Cal and Colorado in early November, USC has a chance to be very healthy for that UCLA game. And so that kind of brings everything full circle. Fully healthy USC offense, fully healthy USC offensive line should be able to absolutely take a blowtorch to that UCLA defense that we saw against Oregon.